So tonight we're going to be talking about the sugar season. Some of you may have seen my post earlier this week when I talked a little bit about November 1st starts the sugar season, and I wanted to elaborate on that this evening and talk to you more about that and kind of from a perspective of what kind of pain it causes to stay stuck in a mindset around sugar. And then also, what can we do to avoid the pitfalls of the holiday season? So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Leslie Nance. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, certified holistic cancer coach, coming up on an 8-year cancer survivor, and here to love you through this process and to teach you what I know about making the body inhospitable to cancer and to disease. Okay, so November 1st is what I consider the beginning of the sugar season. So October 31st is Halloween, and that really is kind of the beginning of the idea that we're introducing more and more sweet treats into our day. But really, November 1st is where we really start with this whole sugar season. And a lot of people would like you to think that it ends at New Year's, but I can tell you, if you think about Thanksgiving, actually, if you start with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, we get into 7 months of holidays that have sugar or eating or alcohol, which I consider sugar as well, associated with it. And so it's a long season of thinking about, how and to do something different and to be something different. And so I read a statistic that said the average American will gain 5 to 7 pounds in the next 2 months. Now, some of you that are in cancer treatments is like, I would love to gain 5 or 7 pounds because you're feeling underweight or you are underweight at this point. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the average American gains 5 to 7 pounds in 2 months. And most of them, when it comes to, January, February, March, they don't lose it. It's sticking around. So imagine if you're gaining 5 to 7 pounds every year and it's not going away, right? See, I'm not talking about you, Jennifer, but it's not going away. And then we wonder, why can't I fit in my jeans anymore? Why can't I wear that cute dress that I wore last Christmas? 5 to 7 pounds. That's crazy to think about to me in a 2-month period. So, when we're talking about this, it's actually not a question of weight. So I don't want to stay there a long time. I just wanted to use that as a barometer so that you could see how out of balance that we get when it comes to the holidays and eating. So here's the reasons that I came up with. And you guys type in, while I'm reading these off and explaining them, you type in what you think would be some reasons. But here's some reasons that eating off of your feed, that's what my husband calls it. When we eat off of our diet, he calls it our feed. And he'll say, we're on vacation or something. He'll be like, we've been off our feed too long. Just cracks me up. We've been off of our feed too long. And so, but that's what he calls it. But when we eat off of our feed too much, right? When we haven't been eating like we're supposed to, like we tend to do around the holidays. And it's not just the actual holiday that's the problem. It's all the days leading up to it and the events leading up to it, the parties and the gatherings and the buying and the baking and everything else that leads up to that makes really the biggest parts of the problem here. But so I want you guys to type in your thoughts around if you overconsume sweet treats and crappy food during the holiday season, this makes your holiday miserable because of why. Okay. And I'm going to read you the ones that I came up. Number one, it's going to affect your mood. And it's probably going to affect your mood in a negative way. You're probably going to have a moment of like, oh, that was so good and so happy. And then you're going to be like, I feel grumpy. I don't feel very happy right now. That's my grumpy face, I guess. It's not as grumpy as I get. So, but I don't feel good. I still can't do it. I still
Still gonna smile through the grumpy. I was grumpy. Was it yesterday? No, it was day before yesterday. Robin said I was snippy. So anyway, I was a little snippy actually, but it's going to make you, it's going to affect your mood. It's going to make you grumpy. It's going to make you more irritable. It's going to make you quicker to freak out when something goes wrong. It really can change your mental status as much as it changes your physical status. Another thing I came up with is that it makes you tired. You just feel really tired. And during the holidays is when most of us want like the most energy ever. Like we want a ton of energy so that we're ready to go and that we're blasting through and that we're, getting things done and, and we want to be happy during that season. We want to be happy that we have the luxury of standing in line. We want to be happy that our friends and family are able to come see us, right? Because a lot of us are going to be in quarantine probably by the holidays. And so, just because of I don't know, I'm just guessing the way they're talking about this virus that there's going to be some problems around holiday and holiday travel, especially, but it can make you tired and not up for things, right? Hey, we found this really cool light display. Do you want to go? No, I'm too tired. I've been cooking all day. And then you miss out on a whole family thing, right? Oh, we want to play this game. Let's all play this game. No, I'm too tired. Right? You don't want that. And so eating off of your feed can cause that. It can make you physically sick. So it can make you sick to your stomach. It can give you a headache. It can give you all types of reactions physically. It can make your brain slow down a little bit. It can make your cancer worse, which I don't like to think about, but is the truth. It could just make you physically sick. And alongside that, it can lower your immunity because you're not used to eating like that. It lowers your immunity and makes you more susceptible to, the coronavirus or other flus or colds or anything like that. Lowers your immunity, makes it harder for you to fight off infection, makes it harder for your body to rebound between treatments if you're in treatments during that time period. And so you really want to try to, not subject yourself to that, if you will. And then the last thing is that along going with tired, it lowers your energy level as well. When I mean energy level, I do mean physical energy, but I also mean mental energy. I mean, abundant energy, instead of walking in gratitude, you're walking in frustration. So you've changed your energy. So I'm also talking about that mind-body connection energy. It really lowers that energy frequency that you are normally vibing on when you're not eating like you're used to eating. So just keeping all that in mind when you're thinking about, overindulging or indulging at all, depending on who you are when it comes to the holidays. So let's look around and see what other people are saying. Anne Marie is saying exactly before and after the holiday, right? I know, right on. Jennifer's saying, yes, because nothing fits, right? It makes you tired. Like the last thing you want is for your clothes not to fit right and to be tired. That just sounds miserable. Anne-Marie says, miserable because my tummy isn't happy, right? And out of my feed foods. That's correct. So hi, Jessica. It's good to see you. Hi, Barry. Thank you guys for being here this evening. It's good to see you here. So just really, there's a lot of negative potential that comes with a moment of satisfaction. This is my key. This is how I want you to think about it. Is that moment of satisfaction worth the negative outcome that could last hours? Sometimes the answer to that is yes. If you've been with me long enough, you know that I always tell a story. Oh, hopefully I won't cry when I say this, but I always tell a story about when my Aunt Pat, who recently passed away, she recently died just a few months ago. But when my Aunt Pat would make my, dang, I thought I could do it. I'm going to try to get through it anyway. Would make my favorite chocolate cake at Christmas. I would definitely eat a piece of that chocolate cake. But when my Aunt Pat said, Leslie, you love this cake so much, take it home with you, take this cake home with you, I would lovingly tell my Aunt Pat no, because it wasn't worth it for me to eat that, because if I took it home, I would eat it. I would think about it all night long. And I know myself that well to know that that would be the case. And so I don't have any regrets about that, by the way. I'm not sitting here going, oh, now I wish I would have taken the cake. No, because that doesn't serve me or her at that point. And so I tell her, no, divide it up to the people, divide it up among everybody, make sure everybody gets a piece. And typically by the end of the night, it was all gone anyway. But that's the difference. You see the mindset shift there. I did allow myself a small piece of that cake, but I didn't, sorry, guys, but I did not allow myself, whoops, I almost fell down. Oh, I almost fell down again. But I didn't allow myself the full indulgence of taking the cake home and eating it. So I am counting on my cousin, her granddaughter, my cousin's daughter. I'm counting on my cousin Alex to make that cake this year. So then I'll be saying, if my cousin Alex makes my Aunt Pat's cake, right? So sorry, I thought I could get through that story without I even practiced it, and still at least I didn't bawl. I just kind of had some tears, so I did pretty good actually. But but it's you see the shift there. I allow myself something, but I'm not allowing myself to overindulge, because I know what happens. I'm tired, I'm grumpy, my immunity is lowered, my energy, my vibe is lower, all of that happens. And then I'm like, why did I do that? Why would I do that? So you need to question that ounce of happiness that you have for those hours of pain and, ickiness that you're going to have afterwards. And here's the thing. What happens when you make that shift in your mindset and you're like, I'm going to do a little, but that's all I'm going to do. I'm not taking it home. I'm not going to keep it in the house. I'm not going to, but you do a little, you feed your noodle up here. You feed it information that says it's okay to be satisfied with food, even a piece of chocolate cake. It's okay to be satisfied with food, but it's not okay to overindulge in that. And as you practice that, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And how many times have I had people say to me, I don't believe in moderation. Moderation does not work. Moderation is nah, 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 nah. And I'm more of the everything in moderation, including moderation kind of girl, right? I'm like that whole everything in moderation, even moderation, when it comes to that, because you have to have some freaking self-control. She talking to me? You talking to me? I am talking to you. You have to learn some self-control when it comes to these times, these places where you're making a decision about what is right for you and what is not. In my 8-week course, I teach a course about eating on purpose. And in that 8-week course, it's actually in week 8, and it's called Eating on Purpose. And when we think about eating on purpose, you're constantly in the mindset, the shifting of, am I feeding disease or am I feeding my health? When I eat this, am I feeding my disease or am I feeding my health? Sometimes the answer is, no, I'm feeding my brain right now. My brain wants a piece of chocolate cake. My aunt made it. I get it one time a year. I'm going to eat it. But I'm not taking that cake home with me. I'm not going to eat 5 pieces. I'm going to eat 1 piece. See what you catching what I'm throwing down? You guys getting it? You picking, I think the phrase is actually, I'm like one of those old people don't get the phrases right. Okay. Like Chevy Chase and, eat my dirt or something. I can't remember now. Anyway, so eat my rubber. Okay. So anyway, some of you know what I'm talking about. In Christmas Vacation, it's a classic movie, and I can't remember the line, but anyway, I'm like that right now because I think it's, are you picking up what I'm throwing down is the correct way to say that. So how do you keep your cool? How do you keep from getting out of balance in these situations, right? And then, but also out of balance is not going hog wild and eating all the crazy stuff and, just eating all you want and just indulging and not caring about all of that. The other extreme of that is the ninny pin who is like, I can't come to your house for Christmas because I can't eat that food. Right? You won't be that person either. So if you have some self-control, you can be somewhere in the middle, and the balance of that, of paying attention to your health and paying attention to what makes you happy a little bit. Does that make sense? Little levity on this very serious night, right? So how do you keep your cool? So here's some of my top tips for keeping your cool during the holidays, staying on track as best as possible. Number one, don't sweat the small stuff. Number one, do not sweat the small stuff. This includes not having the perfect food all the time, okay? You can't go hog wild and eat off your feed where you're going to feel like crap. But at the same time, there's going to be situations where you cannot follow the letter. You can't follow the line. And remember, diet is not a tightrope. It's a guideline. I give you, in my 8-week course, I give diet guidelines. And the difference between a tightrope and a guideline being a tightrope is something that you walk on, and if you fall off of it, you're possibly going to get hurt or you're going to die. And the guideline is there to hold you, to guide you, to teach you, to instruct you, to keep you on a path. And if you deviate off the path a little bit, chances are you're not going to get hurt. If you deviate off the path too much, you lose the guideline and could get lost or get hurt or get injured or whatever, or die. So how do we keep our cool? Number one, stay even, Stephen. Stay in balance in your mindset with this. Don't go to one extreme or the other. Try the colorful middle. The water is beautiful there. It's warm and fantastic. Stay in the middle. Stay in balance, both your mindset and your physical body. So some practical tips. Take a dish. If you're really worried about it, you're worried about them having something that you can even eat. I'm from a Southern family, so sometimes it's even hard for me to find anything to eat. So if you're worried about that, take a dish with you that you at least you know you can eat that thing. Even if nobody else eats it, you know you can eat that thing. Make it a casserole with lovely vegetables, with all kinds of goodness in it. That is just, it looks beautiful. It tastes great. Go over to my website. There is some roasted root veggies there. And it's, oh my gosh, it's an amazing dish. Another practical tip, don't buy sweet treats for gifts. Don't do baked goods for gifts. Now, if it's a tradition, I'll leave you at it. But don't make up a tradition this year to make cookies for everybody or candy or whatever for the holiday. That is just a giant temptation sitting right in your kitchen or under your tree or whatever holiday that you celebrate. Don't do it. Don't volunteer to make the chocolate cake or the chocolate pies or the pumpkin pies or whatever. Just don't make that your thing. Unless you're like my Aunt Pat, who is the best chocolate cake maker on the planet. She had no choice. She had to make it. Right? So don't buy sweet treats or make sweet treats at gifts. Eliminate the temptation. Send your leftovers packing. So when you have leftovers, if you're hosting and you have leftovers, make sure everybody takes that food out of your house. Right? Take all the desserts. And if they don't, then take them to neighbors. So I've done this many, many times where I have a party and somebody brings, everybody brings all kinds of desserts and then they leave and they don't take them with me. I divide them up. I put them on nice little just paper plates with a nice little covering over them. Typically I use like tape and wax paper, but I have a nice little covering over them, write a sweet little note on it and take it to my neighbors. They're usually thrilled. Oh my gosh, look at all these different kinds of desserts. Anne-Marie saying, I always have pack and go containers. Amen. Make it easy for them to take that. They're gone. Another practical tip is to remember your progress. Undoubtedly, you've made amazing progress in your diet. You have made changes that you're very proud of. Don't let a holiday derail that. It's not worth it. You're not gonna have any less of a holiday by skipping that energy of that food that is going to throw you off track. I can handle a piece of chocolate cake. There may be some of you out there that would be like, well, I would never just stop at one piece. If you know that's you, then don't do it. Use your brain, right? Remember your progress that you've made. Your holiday is not about gifts. It's not about food. It's about being present. The best gift you can give anybody is to be present. And imagine how much more present you can be when you're 100% your healthy self. That's the best gift you can give yourself and the best gift you can give somebody else. And then remember to keep your goals in front of you. One of my favorite quotes that I found recently was Tony Robbins. Not a huge Tony Robbins fan, but I did like this quote. And that was, keep your goals in front of you always, and your fears will always be behind you. What a beautiful thing. Remember your goals. Keep your goals in front of you. If you're working through active cancer and active cancer treatments right now is not the time to stress over, I don't get to have a piece of cake. I don't get to have a piece of pie. Enjoy that you're here for the holiday. I was talking to someone today and I was talking about the joy of being 50 years old. I don't know, Janice is not here, but I was talking about being 50 years old, and I didn't think I would make it to 50 years old, and how happy I was. I couldn't wait to turn 50. I was like, come on, 50, come on, 50. I was actually excited. All of my other birthdays from the time I turned 20 to the time I turned 42, I loathed. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm getting older. I don't want to get older. I almost made it come true. The cancer diagnosis. I don't want to get older, and I almost didn't. I can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny when it happened. But celebrate what you're there to celebrate. It's not food. For some of you, it's a religious meaning. For some of you, it's an energy exchange with your family. Don't let it derail your good work that you have done to this point. It's not worth it. All right. That's all I have for you guys tonight. It's been a pleasure to